pertinentes concernant l'immobilier. Prenez votre téléphone, composez le 904-886-3100 ou contactez le PDG lui-même, le sympathique Jacques Guillaume, au 904-386-1726 ou écoutez tous les samedis dorénavant sur le 1530 AM Radio Puissance Inter, l'Internet et Audio Now. L'émission Real Estate de 11h à midi, animée par Jacques Guillaume lui-même. Alors là, soyez un couple heureux, placé dans la maison de vos rêves.
Mon cher, nous là n'a frappé ça n'est fait.
Mon cher, m'a fait des marches pour nous capables de venir habiter dans Floride très bientôt avec toute famille là. Est-ce que vous pouvez référer à une compagnie qui fait Real Estate pour aider dans le processus ça?
Bon, m'a bao Solstice Realty avec tout agent lié qui a bail bon service real estate en Haïti et en Floride. Ou ka toujours aller sur site yo qui c'est www.solsticerealty.net ou bien carré dans 904 886 3100.
Est-ce que son G majori, semna, les teams qui ont caille dans Floride et puis tenant refusé payer. Est-ce que Solstice Realty fait pour appeler manager?
Bien sûr mon vieux, n'a loué caille là, collecter loyer chaque mois à l'heure pour majori.
Merci en pile cousin. Eh bien, si c'est comme ça, yo caille dem vendre caille moyen dans New York tout.
Pour caille Paula, n'a cherché un agent qui vous vient lister caille là pour venir mettre li à vendre pour sans être chargé. Just faire nous connaître l'aubre.
Cousin, avant aller, maman me gagne 3 cailles Haïti actuellement. Yon déjà dans loyage et puis 2 l'autre yo vide. Est-ce que vous avez une compagnie qui a aidé en Haïti?
Bien sûr, nous bail service en Haïti tout. So aller sur www.solsticerealty.net et puis cliquez sur Haïti pour avoir tout argent que nous gagnons à Haïti et avec toute propriété que nous avons nous bien loué à Haïti.
Solstice Realty ça ou pas gagné ou pas fait même. Mais est-ce que monsieur ça a marié mon?
Non. Solstice pas marié mon. Solstice c'est placer nous placer mon dans caille.
Hello, non, moi c'est Jacques Guillaume.
Hello, my name is Marie-Danielle Guillaume.
Moi invite pour tendre Solstice Realty tous les samedis de 11h à midi. Côté n'a répondre toutes questions sur real estate pour à bord de 1530 AM Radio Puissance Inter.
We invite you to listen to the Solstice Realty radio show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Call us with questions at 904-786-2400. And for more information, call us or text us at 904-386-1726 or call the office at 904-886-3100.
Ou capable toujours les radios à 904-786-2400. Et pour plus d'informations, ou capable toujours contacter nous dans 904-386-1726 ou bien capable les office là dans 904-886-3100. Ou capable toujours contacter n'importe agent Solstice Realty.
And if you did not get a chance to listen to the Solstice Realty radio show, you may listen to the program on YouTube by searching Solstice Realty.
Mesdames et messieurs, Solstice Realty de Jacques Guillaume.
C'était déjà promis, donc nous avons Madame Thomas avec nous aujourd'hui et Monsieur Jacques Guillaume, le propriétaire de Solstice Realty. Donc, nous disons bienvenue et numéro pour nous contacter nous très bientôt, c'est 904-786-2400, 904-786-2400 et 904-386-1726. Nous capables d'envoyer un texte, un message à Monsieur Jacques et puis pour toute question que nous gagnons. Bienvenue tout le monde.
Merci un peu Michael pour un deuxième tour avec nous à bord de Solstice Realty qui là pour aider les communautés haïtiennes dans le nord-est ou bien partout en Floride et en Haïti et quel que soit côté y a attendu une chose ça. Donc c'est sur real estate là comme Michael fait dit nous gagnons madame Janna Thomas qui est là avec nous pour une deuxième fois. Donc chose ça libal fait dans des langues en anglais et en créole. Donc m'a prend privilège ça matin pour moi avant moi entrer d'emblée dans show ou connaît faut que moi li disclosure avant nous pour me dire que chose ça li recordé et puis li publié online sur site nous et puis sur YouTube. Intervention de nos auditeurs capable de refléter point de vue de Solstice Realty, de Agent Noyo et de Radio Puissance Inter. Donc Solstice Realty est responsable pour ça que de bas pour ça nous publier dans show ça. Donc nous avons droit pour nous modifier podcast ça yo avant que nous publions online. Donc pour tout le monde en pile des fois qui commence à entendre des choses ça et ensuite on connaît que nous sommes tous des busy beings, busy livings. Donc, si nous pas une chance pour nous faire entendre des choses, ça, nous sommes capables toujours aller dans le site solsticerealty.net et vous capable entendre des choses ça dans un temps qui est convenable à vous-même. Donc, without any further ado, nous allons rentrer d'emblée dans le programme là, et avant nous faire ça, nous attendons une petite musique tout petit et puis nous tourner sur tout à l'heure. Ok, nous sommes de retour, mesdames et messieurs. Donc, on croit que non, Janna Thomas, excusez-moi, il paraît très familier à la communauté haïtienne. Non? De retour, il était là déjà avec nous 2 week-ends de cela. Donc, on est capable de voir tout dévouement que Madame Thomas déploie pour lui aider la communauté haïtienne de Bank of England. Donc, Madame Thomas, il a plus que 24 ans dans real estate, la fait travail real estate et il presque fait toute ville à Jacksonville. Donc matin pour tout le monde qui a intention d'investir dans real estate, prends une chaise banon pour nous capable brûler pour nous poser expert toutes questions que nous gagnons pour real estate. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a great show this morning, and we have Mrs. Thomas with us for a second time from Bank of England. She's very devoted to educate and inform the Haitian community and then everybody who is listening to this radio station or to this show all over Florida, in Haiti, or in Canada, or in France. So Mrs. Thomas is here to answer all your questions. So this is her second time that she is coming to this show, just to show you how dedicated she is. And with over 24 years in real estate, and she has been in Jacksonville for a very long time. And her specialty is in renovation loans, and in not only renovation, she does all kind of loans. So no matter what your questions are, feel free to call her, and she will answer it. Okay, so let me go ahead and let Mrs. Thomas to introduce herself briefly. Then we'll go through all the questions. Now, remember, you can always text us your questions. If you don't have time to come to pick up the phone, or if you cannot go get through, you can always text us your questions to 904-386-1726, or you can text your question to Mr. Michael at 904-254-9374. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to let Mrs. Thomas introduce herself, and we'll go ahead and move forward with the show. Thank you.
Hi, it's very nice to meet everyone online. Please remember to call in anytime with any questions, or text them in today during the show. If we do not get to your question today, we will get to it on the next show. I believe in renovating and revitalizing the Jacksonville and Northeast Florida area. That is my passion. But buying homes are just a great investment for anyone, especially if you are a first-time home buyer in the Northeast Florida area. Thank you for having me.
Perfect. Okay, thanks for coming, Mrs. Thomas. I think we had a pile of questions last time you were on the show, and then so we went through all the questions and tried to summarize them for you. The first one has to do with rehab. So that person is thinking about investing in the Springfield area. And so what he was thinking, what are the advantages of your renovation package over the FHA 203K?
First of all, a renovation package is an FHA 203K. So there are 2 types of renovation loans that are available today. One is an FHA program, which requires 3.5% down. The other is a Fannie Mae conventional program, which requires 5% down. Both can be used to renovate a home from the slab all the way up to a new build.
Okay, so basically, let's say I see a home downtown, which can be basically like a shell, just the structure. And then now let's say I'm buying this home for like 25 or 20 or 29,000, because we've seen those listings. And then now let's say it may take like let's say I'm buying this house for like 30,000.
Okay.
And it may take 70,000 to bring the house up to my standard, up to a livable condition. So that means, so now we'll add 70 plus 30, that will give you 100,000. That's going to be the loan.
Well, that would be the acquisition price, and from that we would take the down payment requirement, and then you would have the remaining amount be the loan.
So basically, 3.5%, right?
Correct.
$3,500.
Correct.
I can buy a home downtown in Springfield area, including renovation. I will only give 3.5% down, which is like $3,500, not including my closing cost, maybe another $3,000 or $4,000.
Correct.
So basically, I can get my home dream the way that I want it, renovated it, make it look beautiful. The kitchen is for my wife. The first thing you sell to when you were selling a house, the first thing the lady wants to see is the kitchen.
Yes.
And then she moved to the master bedroom, to the master bath. Is that what? Because if a house does not meet certain criteria, you cannot sell it.
Well, you also cannot get financing on it.
True.
So the house has to meet certain standards of code, and that is one of the things that the home is appraised. When the appraiser goes out to check the value of the home, he will mention items that may not be up to code for that type of financing. So definitely kitchens and bathrooms are the most valuable renovation section of the home because it gives more value than simply adding on or enclosing a porch, for example. The kitchens and the bathrooms are just so worth it when it comes to renovating a property. That's your big ticket items.
Perfect. And then also, sometimes when you walk on those old homes, either they are off ground.
Correct.
So you may have to redo the
floor.
The floor, and
Right.
you can redo the floor, and then I think Michael has a comment. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, Mrs. Thomas, my comment is, you only gonna be able to do the loan, this type of loans only on primary home, or can it be also? I know it can be also commercial, but for this particular case, only 5% or 3.5% only for residential.
Right. Renovation loans that the Bank of England provide are for residential properties. They can be a primary residence, a second home, or an investment property. So we do have the two different types of loan programs that will allow for each of those.
That's perfect. So let me, for those of you, well, pour nous même qui fait rentrer dans le show, donc attendez Jacques Guillaume, host pour Solstice Realty Radio Show avec Monsieur Michael Paul et invité spécial c'est Madame Janna Thomas. Donc question nous te gain matin c'est concernant rénovation, c'est-à-dire si au monde ou intention acheter un caille ou ancienne maison par exemple dans zone historique, dans zone Springfield. Côté que vous acheter là qui vraiment qui pas coûter un pile cob, tant que nous te prend un exemple pour $30,000 et puis qu'on est là dans même paquet ça tout ou capable inclus cob pour rénover caille ça c'est que doit dépenser jusqu'à $70,000 donc on est censé venir prêter $100,000 pour capable rénover propriété ça ou bien pour venir mettre la condition que besoin et puis up to gon série de restrictions tout ça nous les codes par bord ici qui doit entrer en vigueur. Now and then also, when you do renovation loans, the buyer has to hire some subcontractor, right?
General contractors are the person that does the estimates for repairs. Typically, you have a roof that may be needing replacement, an air conditioning unit that may need being replacement. And although there are separate vendors that can do those items, when you have multiple items going on in a renovation, like a new roof or an air conditioning unit or flooring or a new kitchen, you need someone to oversee that process, and that is what the general contractor is for.
Okay, perfect. And in many times, I think the lenders or the bank, they provide the home buyer with a list of subcontractors or general contractors, along the way where that person will not have to go around and shop around.
Right. We do have general contractors that we have worked with in the past that we have vetted. By that I mean we have checked their references. We know that they have the general liability insurance to cover the project. We also know that they've been licensed for over a year and that they are familiar with the scope of work being performed on this property.
Ok, donc pour nous tous qui fait brancher ou obtenir des émissions Solstice Realty, depuis nous avons Madame Janna Thomas avec nous, avec Monsieur Michael Paul, et nous avons parlé sur la question de pour faire rénovation à caille. Donc, le plus souvent, avant que mon fin acheter caille là, même banque ou bien même lender à tout, toujours conseiller monde qui fait confiance, monde qui crédit, puis qui a licence, qui a assurance, et ça nous les contracteurs avec subcontracteurs ou bien général contracteur, tout le monde ça qui pour accompagner sur route notre transaction ça juste pour pas aller pour compte. Donc c'est sous ça n'a pas les matins pour monde qui a intention acheter premier caille ou bien deuxième caille. Donc il y a plusieurs types de loans et sur genre de loan rénovation sont capables de 3.5 jusqu'à 5% down pour acheter caille et puis vous mettez l'image qu'on t'a voulu lire. OK. Donc vous capable toujours aller dans 904 786 1726 pour faire intervention ou du moins vous capable texte nos questions yo dans 904 254 93 74 ou bientôt dans 904 386 1726. Okay. All right. So let's take a short break and we'll be right back. OK, nous sommes de retour. Nous faisons que c'est bon texte là. Texte là dit à qui point Kaisa a commencé faire réparation. OK, we just received the text for Mrs. Thomas. The question said, for the renovation, at what point would the repairs start?
The repairs would begin approximately 2 weeks after you close on the property.
Okay. So basically the contractor will come in and because by then you already have an estimate anyway. You will have multiple estimates from two or three contractors to tell what needs to be done.
The process flows when you first get a contract accepted on the property and you have 2 timelines that begin. The first timeline is to have the home inspection performed. Most buyers take that home inspection and they actually show it to the general contractor and say, these are the items that I want to have fixed or that I want to have repaired or replaced or updated. From there, the general contractor creates an estimate of the scope of work and breaks down the labor and the materials of the job. We take that estimate and that's what we use to order the appraisal. So the appraisal gives us an after completed value. So we have the estimate and the scope of work defined early in the process, and then we close on the loan, and then the scope of work begins generally within 10 to 14 days after closing.
Perfect. So, pour nous tous qui fait brancher question, c'était à qui point travail a commencé fait dans Kaila l'offre fin acheté. Donc c'est 2 semaines après ou fin close sur Kaila. Donc ou a toujours fait même process là, ou a toujours fait inspection et puis l'offre fin fait inspection connaît la liste ou a une liste de réparation qui besoin fait. Donc c'est liste ça qu'on va le bail subcontractor ou même connaît là à partir de ça tout il va là Kaila pour évaluer évaluation inspection pour être capable de dire OK mais qu'est-ce que besoin fait son nouveau roof qui besoin fait. Donc nous gagnons l'autre monde sur là et puis donc n'a prend un coup de fil là bon mon seconde. Allô?
Oui, allô, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Vous êtes capable de demander une question. Est-ce que pour le programme qui est dans Springfield là, est-ce que son type de cas nous capable acheter pour résider pour être là-dedans ou bien c'est cas seulement pour investment pour aider?
Okay, 1 second. The question that we have, if somebody were to buy a house in Springfield area, let's say, would it be like for primary residence or for investment, or can it be both?
It depends. It depends on the property. You can buy a home as a primary or in Springfield, or an investment property, or even a second home. It depends on where your primary home is.
Okay. Yes. So, l'idée ça tout dépend. C'est-à-dire, on doit acheter comme pour vivre là-dedans, ou du moins, on doit acheter comme au deuxième cas. Donc, so acheter comme au deuxième cas. So, as a secondary home, you have to put 10% down, right?
Correct.
Yes. So, worst case scenario, si vous achetez comme au deuxième cas, vous avez 10% down. Best case scenario, si ou achète comme résidence privée, ou bay 3.5% down. Donc, again, les dos, tout dépend de qui côté, résidence privée, oui. Now, does it matter where your primary residence is?
Yes, if you're buying a second home, there is a radius requirement over 40 miles from your primary residence.
Okay. So what does that mean in plain English?
If you live in Palm Beach,
Okay.
Florida, and you want to buy a second home in St. Augustine, Florida,
Okay.
there's more than 40 miles between the two.
Yes.
It could be considered the new purchase as a second home.
Okay. But what if I live in Mandarin and I buy a house in Springfield?
No, there's not enough mileage between.
So then I have to put more money down?
Yes, it would become an investment property, which would require 20% down.
Ha! Good to know that. So, ok. Donc, pour auditeur qui fait créer nous, on croit que un point là qui est très important. Donc, si par exemple, vous étiez Orange Park ou bien vous étiez dans zone West Side, et puis, Washington Kai, Palm Coast ou bien Orlando, qui est à peu près à 40 000 de côtoyer, ou capable de considérer comme un second home, ou capable de 10% down. Mais si par exemple, vous êtes Jacksonville déjà, vous êtes Orange Park et puis Washington Kai dans Springfield, côté que lui moins que 40 000, donc vous avez pour 20% down. So, it's good to know that. So, donc, je ne si l'auditeur est toujours là. Allô? Donc, je crois que la réponse là, on dit. Ok, merci un peu pour l'appel. Vous avez une intervention que vous avez besoin de faire sur l'autre question qui nous recevoir. Michael, go ahead.
Well, the question is for Mrs. Thomas is that I noticed that in the 90s, the interest rate used to be like a 7%. If you have a 7% rate or 6.5%, it was like all alloy because people were so happy with that type of rates. But however, now we understand that people talking about 3.5%, they're talking about 4% rates, and then this is really the best time, I believe, for people to buy. They're talking about maybe the rate is subject to change very soon. That people should be aware of that. This is a great time to buy with that kind of rate because that's reduced drastically your monthly payments. Any comment on that, Miss Thomas? Any prediction if the rate is really subject to change in 3 or 6 months?
Interest rates are always subject to change. When I began my mortgage career, they were at 8%. So with having them below 4% today, it's an amazing time because you can actually buy twice the amount of house that you used to could buy 15 years ago. So it's a really great time to buy. There is no crystal ball about when they will change, but we know that they can't go down any further. So the only place to go is higher. So if you're thinking and you're on the fence and you're considering purchasing a home, definitely get pre-qualified to find out how much you qualify for, and then begin your search.
And what's the number for them to call to get pre-qualified?
You can call me at 904-553-3048, or you can email me at jthomas, that's jthomas, at boejax.com.
Perfect. Donc, nous pour tout le monde qui fait brancher, une intervention te gain pour louer avec le taux d'intérêt qui est extrêmement bas ces derniers jours. Donc, comme M. Michael te fait comparaison de nos jours à 1990, côté taux d'intérêt était dans 6, 7, 8, 9 et alors que maintenant, le taux d'intérêt est presque au sud de 4%, c'est-à-dire le plus bas que 4%. Donc, l'opportunité est encore là pour tout le monde qui a intention, qui a pensé pour acheter. Parce que, I think you made an excellent point. When the interest rate is low, you can buy more houses.
Yes, you could qualify for more square footage.
Yeah.
For a larger home. Once the interest rate starts to go up, that is changed because the payment changes, and that affects your debt-to-income ratio, which determines how much house you can purchase.
Yeah, because the monthly payment drives everything.
Everything.
So I mean, yes, for example, you may be qualified for 150,000 when the interest is very high. Now, if the interest is lower, then you can be qualified for 200 250.
Correct.
Because everything is driven by the monthly payment.
Right, and that really affects the community that you can purchase in. When you're shopping, you need to know what you can afford so that you're looking in the appropriately priced communities and looking at the schools in the area and looking at the lifestyle in that community encompasses for you and your family.
That's a new avenue we need to think about also, because what you can afford drives where you can live. So that is an excellent point. I mean, that's why we always bring people who can talk to us about what we need to know, because so many times we take decision, we don't, we say, okay, well, I just want to buy a house, but where you live is very important also, and then what you are going to buy will dictate where you will end up 10 or 15 or 20 years, because location.
Correct.
Yeah.
And often people that buy homes today are buying those homes so that the home will pass through multi-generations. So when you're planning for yourself, your family, your children, and their children, that home may continue on through many generations of the family.
True.
So it's important to really know what community and look at the community and see if you can qualify for that community first.
Yeah, that's pour nous tout qui fait brancher nous gagne Madame Thomas avec nous de Bank of England, et puis intervention qu'elle soit fait là, c'est concernant dans zone Kodota mérité avec famille. Donc puisque taux d'intérêt à bas, c'est-à-dire capable qualifier pour plus cob, c'est-à-dire vous avez plus choix pour choisir dans qui communauté vous voulez rester. Donc je crois que sont très belles ouvertures que les fait côté que faut qu'on pense à famille et pas seulement aujourd'hui, mais dans 10, 20, 30 années qui venir. Donc ou l'on pas acheter une propriété, faut regarder vraiment est-ce que zone ça c'est côté ou capable élever petit tout. Donc pour des générations qui a venir. Donc c'est une très très belle intervention que Madame Thomas fait. Donc nous fait que c'est voir un message côté que mon sali dit bon il travaille dans medical field, et puis il vit dans sud Floride, et puis il a aimé acheter une propriété Jacksonville comme on l'a fait. Donc on va dire ça en anglais. So Mrs. Thomas, the question that we have on the table is that this person works in South Florida, and then he or she is in the medical field. She's thinking about buying a house here in Jacksonville while prices are low. And then she, as you said, she has more options. She can pick, the location, her preferred location. Now, and then her question was, would she be qualified for the 3.5 or 3%, 3.5 FHA or 3.0 conventional?
She would, if she lives in South Florida and works in South Florida, that is considered her primary residential area.
Yes.
Unless her job allows her to work from home, which now a lot of jobs do because of technology, then she would still be considered working at that medical center or hospital. So she would be basically stating that is where she primarily works and lives. So to buy something here in Jacksonville, at that point, if she did not own any other property, she could purchase a home in Jacksonville as a second home or as an investment property, whichever she preferred.
And then that will require 10% down?
The second home is 10% down. Investment property is 20% down.
But that's still good.
Very good.
I mean, 10%. From 3 to 10 is just 7,000 difference. It depends on the price range.
Right.
Yeah, and just to put this into perspective, when I talk with people from other countries like Canada, in those places you have to put a lot of money down.
That's true.
No matter what. I mean, if you have good credit, the best you can get is 20% down, and then that's why a lot of people when they move to the US, say, wow, this is really the land of opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
Most people have the conception when they first go to buy a home and that they need a large down payment. That they have to save and save and save and save, and therefore it takes them longer to purchase a home because they have this conception of I have to have 20-30% 3.5% down. Today, we do not have to have 20. It's amazing. The FHA programs that are available at 3.5% down are designed for first-time home buyers that don't have a lot of money saved, but they do have a great work history.
I think we have a phone call. Let me put it through. Hello?
Hello. Hey, I have a question for the lady.
For Mrs. Thomas.
This for Ms. Thomas. I am looking to buying some investment property, and I want to know how to go about that if you guys can help with that.
Yes. If you will just give me a call after the show, 904-553-3048. I can take down your information and see what kind of qualifications you have to buy investment properties.
Yes, or you can just text me or text Michael. Let me give you Michael's number and then
I'm driving right now, so that's why.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, to be able to determine how much income, and we have to have specifics. Like we would need.
Well, actually, I'm looking to buy a range from $15,000 to $20,000 house.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean cash, not no loan or none of that. I'm talking about cash, investment property. Because I was looking online and I saw a lot of them, 15, 14 good houses, that's ready to, people ready to move into. But I don't understand a whole lot about the real estate thing, whatever.
Okay. I know that Solstice Realty and their professionals can definitely assist you with any home buying purchase, whether it be cash or one that requires financing. So if you will text in, or actually, is there a way we can get their contact information?
I'm going to pull for this side right now. Let me get this number again.
Okay.
Right now, pull it aside.
Yeah, you can send us a text to 904-386 1726, 904-386-1726, or 904-254-9374. And then you can send a text to Michael at 254-9374, and then we will assist you. Because if you are in the market and you want to buy, I have investors like that. They want to buy anything that shows up in the market for like $20,000 or $30,000, and then many times some of the investors then they will like, wow, instead of paying cash, maybe I should put 20% down. And then because when you do that, you have more, you leverage. You leverage over the bank's capital, and then that gives you more buying power. But we will talk about it off the air, and then I'm sure Michael and I will team up to assist you. And then Mrs. Thomas will always be there to give her expert advice.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, nous allons l'autre monsieur là, bon second. Allô?
Allô, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Moi, j'ai une question pour madame. Moi, je voulais connaître les avations caille, l'opon loan dans le banque avec l'opon loan dans l'autre banque, qui différence gagne. Et moi, je voulais connaître différence gagne FHA et VA loan.
Okay, the question was the person said she's thinking about buying a house, and then she was saying, is there any difference when she uses her own bank or go to a like Bank of England like you, or use her own bank, and then what's the difference between FHA, VA, or what are her options? What would be in her best interest?
Well, an FHA loan stands for the Federal Housing Administration, and it's a government agency created loan. It's part of the National Housing Act, established back in 1934. And it's established for first-time homebuyers that have established a work career of 2 years or longer in the same field or school included. They've got not much savings, but they have enough to get into a property and to start having a home ownership. A VA loan is a mortgage loan that's guaranteed by the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. You have to have served in the military to qualify for a VA loan. A conventional loan is going to be just a standard Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac type of 30-year fixed-rate loan. So it depends on what she's trying to accomplish and what she can qualify for. She can check with her local bank, definitely, or she can check with me if she would like for me to answer any personal questions to see what she qualifies for. I'll be more than happy to.
Well, definitely. I would I would prefer that the people they call you, because first of all, I mean, you are here. It's a commitment. You take out of your busy schedule, to come here to educate the population, and we would strongly advise them to work with you, because they know what they are going to get, and then basically we want the community to work with Bank of England, to work with Mrs. Thomas, because she wants to help us out. And I think Michael had his pencil up. He had something to say. Go ahead, Michael.
Et Madame Thomas spend time and then on weekend pour le venir là pour le bon nos informations. Donc pensez que le table gentil que nous contacter. S'il pas qu'à faire rien pour nous, nous t'a aller de l'autre côté. Donc moi c'est qu'elle très gentil que nous contacter Mrs. Thomas.
Perfect. OK. Donc nous gagnons un pilote monde cap relé. Donc si par exemple nous relé nous pas prendre ligne là, donc prends patience, continuer relé parce que nous gagnons un pile coup de fil et puis nous n'a essayé manager, n'a essayé gérer texte surtout. Donc l'autre question que nous gagnons pour Madame Thomas, I am an investor with a lot of cash in the bank. Some of my properties are free and clear, that means they already paid off, but my credit is really bad. Now I want to put 20 to 40% down if necessary on any of the properties. Does Bank of England have any loan package for investors like this person?
Yes.
Go ahead.
We would need to know. We would need to look at your credit and see why is it bad. So we would need to do an evaluation to find out how bad is bad.
Yeah.
So there may be some things on your credit that we can help you to counsel through to get corrected, to get maybe updated. Maybe something is just old on there, or we just need to find out why is your credit bad and really look at that first, because if we could cure something or help you to fix something on your credit up front, it's going to save you thousands upon thousands of dollars in what type of loan you can qualify for and what type of interest rate you can qualify for. So I would say let's take a look at your credit first and look at your portfolio of investment properties and see what we could do to assist you.
So in other words, you don't just give a loan to people, you coach them on how to get a better loan.
We coach them on how to look at their credit and how to improve their credit, which enables them to qualify for the best loan possible for their situation.
Perfect. So, pour tout le monde qui fait brancher ou attendre Jacques Guillaume de Solstice Realty avec Michael Paul, et puis nous avons invité nous, c'est Madame Janna Thomas. Question, c'est, moi c'est un investisseur, moi j'ai un pile cob, et puis moi j'ai un pile propriété, j'ai là donc me paye cash pour eux déjà. Mais problème moi gain c'est que crédit pas bon. Crédit tellement pas bon, même banque refuse prendre cash dans même moi. Donc est-ce que Bank of England gagne un paquet pour genre d'investisseurs comme ça? Donc réponse c'est que Madame Thomas dit nous que donc il a aimé rencontrer avec moun ça pour lui évaluer crédit pour voir qui ça qui de mauvais dans crédit, il est capable assister pour capable réparer genre de problème ça pour crédit est capable venir plus bon, il est capable bien plus bon loan parce que là gain plus bon crédit, yo bon plus bon loan ou gain plus bon intérêt, c'est-à-dire ou dépenser moins, c'est moins comme cap sortir dans poche par mois. OK. So we are getting a lot of questions, and I'm trying to manage the
That's
text.
good.
Yeah, and then and I know the time flies. Believe it or not. So I think we are trying to get to those questions. Okay, as an investor, I own about 7 houses, half of which are free and clear. My credit score is in the mid 600s. I want to continue investing in real estate desperately, but I was discharged from bankruptcy 1 year ago. I have a strong monthly cash flow. How do I proceed from here?
With investment property purchases, you have to have 2 years from the date of the bankruptcy being discharged before you can purchase another property.
That's pretty good.
Only 2 years.
Yeah. At some point, I used to hear like 4 years, but now it's 2 years. So okay. Pour tout le monde qui fait brancher, question c'était pour donc moi c'est un investisseur. Moi gagné bon crédit, ça dit crédit dans 600 € au mois, et puis moi gagné un pile propriété, mais celle ça m'était sorti dans bankruptcy, pas m'était rentré dans bankruptcy, m'était sorti dans bankruptcy année dernière, ça dit tout bail moi était fini, et ça ou les discharge dans bankruptcy depuis l'année dernière. Donc pour monde qui dans catégorie ça pour investor yo ou pas obligé de retendre 2 ans qui pas mal du tout parce que en pile des fois qu'on a parlé de 4 ans côté 4 donc avec Bank of England donc c'est 2 ans. Donc m'ba konti Michael tu as une intervention.
Yes, Mrs. Thomas, it's a question. There is someone that basically is out of his house because I think the association somehow requested that he left the premises because he did not pay the association fees about 2 years ago. Is this person is eligible to buy another house because the 2 years time frame is already over?
That's an interesting question because did the person, it would depend on the circumstances surrounding why the person left the home. Did they let the home go back to the bank? Did they file bankruptcy? Did they have a short sale? Or I would need more information to answer that.
None of it. The reason he lost his job and then he didn't keep up with the payment to the association fee. He didn't make the payment for the association fee. He was behind like a year or 2 on the mortgage. Now the association requested that he kick him out or so to speak. So therefore, but the bank still have some type of connection with the bank. The bank want him to go back to the property at this time. But by the same token, in case if he's disinterested of going back to the property, is it eligible now to buy a new property because it's already 2 years already passed?
So that was his primary residence, right?
Yes, correct.
So the association pressured him to leave.
Correct.
Anyway, we have someone who is calling. Let me take that call, and then we'll be right back to discuss that issue. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, Una Larry.
Oh, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Bon, j'ai une question pour banquier ou bien loan officer ou bien mortgage broker.
OK.
Comment la question, en créole ou bien en anglais?
Go ahead with your English. I know your English is pretty good.
I hope so. But my question is there one of the key information that we need to know is sometime when you are doing a mortgage or a loan, is your company charge points which stand for prepaid interest? Or what about the PMI? Is the mortgage company take care of that, or is they charge it to the client? And the third one, is there a penalty for a prepaid mortgage or before the terms? And the other question will be, one of the things with the credit is sometimes if someone applying for a mortgage, it would be nice for the person to check their own credit, to pull out a credit report for $1, and they will see everything that may affect them. And sometimes the credit bureau may have something on the credit which is wrong, and they can fix it by asking them to prove it.
Okay.
Because there is yes.
Okay. Let's give Mrs. Thomas a chance to answer those three aspects of your question first.
Okay. The first question you asked was, are discount points automatically charged when someone purchases a home? And the question is no. They are charged if you want to buy down the interest rate. It is your choice. You can do a rate without discount points, or you can do a rate with discount points to make it even lower than what it is today. If you choose to pay discount points, yes, that is prepaid interest on your home, and it is a tax deduction at this time. The second question was
about points that you charge.
We don't charge points.
Okay.
So
PMI. Is there a PMI? So mortgage company will take care of the PMI.
We do offer lender-paid PMI options, so it just depends on if it's worth it for us to do that for you. We can definitely look at that.
But we have two different PMIs. I mean, if it is conventional, it's only one.
Right.
Yeah.
Conventional is where you can pay. You can have a lender-paid mortgage insurance premium, or you can pay it in your monthly payment. With FHA financing, it is automatically there. The lender cannot pay it for you.
And in FHA, you have two. You have a lump sum at closing, and plus you have the monthly PMI that you pay.
With FHA, you have an upfront mortgage insurance premium that most people finance into their loan, so they don't have to pay that at closing, and then you have the monthly payment.
Okay.
And then with the 20%, we don't have the PMI with the 20%.
Yes.
Correct. With a conventional loan, 20% down, there's no mortgage insurance premiums. Even if you put 20% down on an FHA loan, you would still have mortgage insurance premiums.
Yeah, and I think any loan officer will advise anyone to take an FHA loan if you are putting 20% down anyway.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. The other question is that we do know, of course I have to disclose that as a loan officer myself in the past, when someone paying a PMI, as soon as the client reach 20% or more in terms of equity, that person or pay that house off, that person should be entitled to claim those payments that they have made in the past. You can comment on.
What's the question? What's the question?
Yeah. So basically, you are saying, let's say if I had put 5 or 10% down, and as soon as I reach enough equity where my loan is like 80% of the value of the house, and I can call the bank to remove that PMI, or because the bank is waiting until it hits 78%.
Yeah, in this case, that could be possible. But if that person pay that house off or sell that house, there is a way. I don't think it's from the bank, but there is a way that I think the PMI is kind of a security, maybe involve the federal government, where they can actually ask or fill out an application and request that refund. And one of the things that I also want to mention that there is people, if someone has a credit history, sometimes there is inaccurate information on the credit report.
Correct.
We can actually ask the credit report to provide proof. Even if it was true, sometimes they lose, sometimes they lost the file. If they cannot prove it, they got to remove it.
That's correct.
And also we have to let the people know there is in many states, there is different law for that. There is something they call status of limitation. In other words, if you owe some money, it's been 7 years, even it was in the credit bureau, they have to remove it from your file. And every state is different. There's different law in every single state.
Okay.
And this is exercise that can be done to make sure the credit is clean before you are applying for the mortgage. It's harder to prove the mortgage, the information was wrong, than try to clean it first and go to the mortgage company.
Ok, merci en pile pour intervention.
Yes, sir.
En pile information. Donc, nous revenons à fin émission. Donc, merci un peu pour tout le monde qui t'est relé, pour te faire intervention. And thanks to everyone for calling in, for giving your ideas. And then I know we are about to, I know Mrs. Thomas is going to say a few things before we get ourselves off the air.
Did we need to go back to his question from earlier?
That is true. Yes.
Could you repeat that question for us, please?
Yeah, the question had to do with somebody was living in a house and then did not pay the HOA.
Oh.
And the HOA pushed him out.
Okay. We would need to find out what the current status is between him and his current mortgage company.
Exactly.
That's where it all would stem from. If the homeowners association had placed a lien against the property, that would probably show up on his credit as well. Mm-hmm. So we would just need to get a little more deeper into finding out why he was 2 years late on his mortgage, which caused the homeowners association and the bank. And did he do a loan modification? Could he do a loan modification? So a lot of things we would need to find out about.
Yes, because I mean, from experience, I don't think an HOA should kick anybody out of his or her primary residence, because the HOA does not have the loan. It's the bank that has the loan. So I think, Michael, you may need to contact this person and say, you know what, this is your house. You can go back to your house and live in it. The only thing you just have to settle or pay the lien off to settle the HOA. OK. Donc, I know M. Michael pour introduire tout argent nous. Et puis après ça, pour nous introduire, pour nous parler de sponsor, et puis pour nous close programme.
Okay, mesdames et messieurs, donc nous gagnons un agent que pour nous contacter si toutefois nous avons une question sur toutes les affaires immobilières. Nous avons monsieur Deluy Cadet, c'est 904-442-4760 et monsieur Esroal Fertile 904-699-6412 et monsieur Omer Thomas 904-860-39-13 et monsieur Espérandieu Elbon 904-672-63-87 et Géry Lefanor 904-600-8105 et monsieur Indigné Etienne 904-405-2346 et Ofni Neus 904-554-32-95. Merci.
OK, amis auditeurs, donc nous connaissons ça, il était patronné par First Choice Insurance of America de M. Al Oxy, 904-732-1818. Friendly Appliance Services, M. Stanley Louis, 904-554-0630. Dr. Plumbing, M. Rodney Wobia, 904-444-4614. Acopia Home Loans, M. Anthony Davis, area code 404-936-5232. Caribbean Corner Jacks, Caribbean Corner, cap contacter Marilyn Rameau dans 904-807-3833. Donc, émission nous arrive dans la fin pour aujourd'hui. Nous remercions tout le monde qui était pour Tichès Bayo, qui était fait intervention pour attendre des émissions Solstice Realty. Donc, I'm going to let Mrs. Thomas to say her final word, and then we'll conclude the show.
Thanks again for having me on your show today. Remember, home ownership is so important in the States, and we all want you to see if you can qualify to buy a home in Jacksonville today. So give us a call at 904-553-3048, or you can email me at jthomas@boejax.com.
Donc, pour tout le monde qui a besoin de qualifier, vous pouvez contacter Mme Janna Thomas dans 904-553-3048, 904-553-3048, ou bien vous pouvez email dans jthankouna et puis Thomas, THOMAS, @boejax.com. Donc, c'était Jacques Guillaume qui était là avec vous, avec monsieur
Michael Paul, 254-93-74.
Donc, merci un peu à tout le monde qui a pris l'émission Solstice Realty jeudi et à la prochaine.
Au revoir.
Bye bye.